All right, so today's notes, if you are in level, will be over area of a trapezoid. And at one part during the video, I will say you can stop watching. If you're an honors student, you're going to be learning about area of trapezoids and composite figures, so you will need to watch the whole video. So before we go through and talk about trapezoids, let's revisit our steps for geometry. We're going to use the same 4 steps like we did with rectangles and triangles. So step 1, determine the shape and formula, right, that you have. So that's where your star chart will come in use. Then we're going to list the information we have. We'll then fill in the equation, and then we will solve. Now, trapezoids. A trapezoid is a quadrilateral with only one set of parallel sides. Now, something that is different about trapezoids is there are going to be 2 bases. And why do we have 2 bases? Well, look at your sides here. Are they the same length? The answer is no, they are not. They are not the same length. Therefore, we're going to have 2 different bases. So rectangles and triangles, we had the 1 base. Trapezoids, we're going to have 2. Now, when we talk about height, all right, remember, we want it to be straight up and down, vertical, as tall as possible. We don't want the slants. So we're going to look for the dotted line, and remember that the height must form a right angle. So on your star chart, you're going to see a formula for a trapezoid. And that formula is A equals 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 times height. Now you may be wondering, what in the world is this B1, B2? B1 stands for base 1. B2 stands for base 2. All right, because a trapezoid has 2 bases, we got to differentiate between the 2. Now, once again, y'all get freaked out by the 1/2, so we have another way to write this. And the other way is A equals base 1 plus base 2 times height all over 2. So it looks, as someone mentioned earlier, kind of similar to your triangle formula, except you have 2 bases. So triangles and trapezoids, we'll have to remember that we need to divide by 2. So make sure you have these written down. All right, let's take a look at an example. So step 1, determine the shape. Well, I see that this is a trapezoid, so I'm going to write my formula. A equals base 1 plus base 2 times height all over 2. Now, list your information. So my bases. Well, I see my bases are 5 and 12. The question asked, does it matter if I put 5 as base 1? No. You could put 12 as base 1 if you wanted. As long as you identify that they're both bases, it's okay. It does not matter which one is which. So in this situation, let's use base 1 as 5, base 2 as 12. And for my height, I'm going to look for that 90-degree angle. So 7 is going to be my height, which means we are looking for the area. Now, step 3, rewrite our equation. A equals 5 plus 12 times 7 all over 2. Now, if you follow your order of operations, we can solve. I'm going to start with my parentheses. So I see 5 plus 12 gives me 17. Now, as someone mentioned earlier, it kind of looks like your triangle formula. And the answer is, yeah, now it does. So all I got to do now is multiply and then divide. So when I multiply 17 times 7, that gives me 119. divided by 2. And then I'll divide by 2, and I get for my final answer, A equals 59.5 inches squared. So really with trapezoids, the extra step we're adding in is just to add. So we'll add, then multiply, then divide. All right, go ahead and try this example on your own. And then, so pause the video and then you'll check your work with mine. All right, so if you check your work with mine, hopefully it looks the same. I see all this on your notes if I was to look at it. So our bases are 7 and 12. My height is 9.8. So I'll rewrite the formula and then I solve and I get A equals 93.1 meters squared. All right. So now this is an example of a STAR question from a couple of years ago. All right. I want y'all to try this on your own, pause the video and see if you can get it correct. All right. So looking at this, I should know my formula, which is, base 1 plus base 2 times height over 2. Well, if I look, none of these match this, which means they're using the STAR formula, which means we're going to use the 1/2 instead, okay? Now, the other thing we'll need to determine is the height. Remember, you can't have a slanted side, only vertical. So that means the y's are out. Only x could be my height. The other thing, if I look at H and J, they're separating the 6 and the 10. We know based on our formula that the 6 and the 10 have to be grouped together, which is why G is the correct answer. All right, so if you're at this point and you are a level student, you are done with your notes today. If you're an honor student, we are going to continue on. All right, so composite figures. A composite figure that's a really bad S, sorry, is made up of several geometric figures such as triangles, rectangles, squares, circles, and semicircles. Basically what they're doing is, let's say I take a trapezoid and a rectangle and I put it together. That's what's going on. Now, this is a 7th grade topic. However, in 6th grade honors, we will not teach you about circles. You will learn about that next year. All right, but you will learn about composite figures. So to find the area of a composite figure, we're going to separate the figures into simpler shapes, and then we'll find the area of each individual figure and add them together. So let's take a look at this. This is an example of a composite figure. Like I said, I took 2 shapes, put them together. Now there's no formula for me to figure out the area all in one. So we're going to separate it, which is why I wrote out triangle and rectangle. I'm also going to add in between a plus sign because in the end, we're going to have to add our triangle plus our rectangle. So start off by writing your formula. A equals base times height over 2 for a triangle. A equals base times height for a rectangle. So for our rectangle, I would say our base is 24. Our height is 8. And then I can replace it. All right, and I get 192 feet squared. Now the triangle is going to be a little trickier. So this is why I want y'all to write out everything you know. So we know our base is 24, but our height, this is what we're going to have to solve for as well. If I look, the whole figure is 12. That's not the height of the triangle. So if the height of this rectangle is 8, that means we're going to have to subtract 12 minus 8 to get 4. Now I can rewrite this. And I should get A equals 48 feet squared. Now I'm not done, okay, because now I'm going to have to add the 2 together. So 192 plus 48. And I'm going to get A equals 240 feet squared as my final answer. All right, let's have you do a problem on your own. All right, I want you to do this problem on your own, but before we do that, make sure you identify your shapes. I see I have a trapezoid. It's not a triangle. This is a trapezoid. And a rectangle. Someone may say, well, there's a triangle. No, this right here, dotted line, remember, stands for the height, so it's not a triangle. All right, go ahead and pause the video. Try this on your own. All right, let's check your work with mine. So the area of the trapezoid is 44 feet squared. Area of the rectangle is 32 feet squared. When I add them together, I get 76 feet squared as my final answer. So if you're looking at this, we did not need the 5.6 or the 4.5. All right, one last problem. Find the area of the shaded region. So since I'm finding the shaded region, what do you think I'm going to have to do? If you said subtract, you are correct. So instead of adding, you're going to have to subtract these. So go ahead and try this one on your own. All right, so if you check your work with mine, the big square is going to give you 16 centimeters square. The little square will give you 4 centimeters squared. And then I'll subtract the 2 and I get 12 centimeters squared for my final answer. All right, so that's the end of your notes right now. Please know that the next time we meet, we are going to be having a test. The test will be open notes, okay? There's also a test review available if you need it. All right, y'all have a nice day.